Welcome to Unleash Your Audacious Confidence on Win-Win Women TV. This show is all about sharing the tips, tools, and techniques that will allow you to step boldly in the direction of your dreams despite your feelings, fears, or past failures, to imagine what's possible for yourself and live the life you deserve. Well, hello, and welcome to this episode of Unleash Your Audacious Confidence here on Win-Win Women TV. I'm your host, Alicia Curry, and I have a brilliant guest for us today, and we're so aligned with a lot of the things that we not just talk about and teach about, but just our mindsets. We're like, it's amazing. So grab someone to come watch the show with you. You won't regret it. I want to also encourage you to check out winwinwomen.com. You know, Win-Win Women is a network for women by women. It's all about women to help elevate us. And it's a global network. So we have programming that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Not just my show, but there are multiple show hosts that are running shows. So there might be another topic that you're interested in. So go check it out. We also have live events on Win-Win Women, winwinwomen.com. So you can go to that site and find out if there's a live event coming to an area near you that you can be a part of and meet other really dynamic women who are blazing trails and that are great to be around. So I want to get to our guests and I want to get to our topic, because our topic today is Seize Your Greatness. And I have a wonderful guest with us today. Her name is Julie Ann Meyer, and she is the founder and president of Achieve TV, another television network. And I had the pleasure of being on one of her shows recently, and now she is here on this show. So Julie Ann, won't you come on in? Welcome to the show, Julie Ann.
Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
I know, this is great. And it's not like we didn't just see each other recently. You know,
I'm not mad at it.
I know, because we had a great conversation the last time. So now I get to interview you and find out all about this idea of seizing your greatness, which is a great topic for audacious confidence. Why don't you define what you mean by seizing your greatness for me to start off?
Well, I think that this is where you and I are very much in alignment. And, you know, especially women, we as women are sort of taught to be good, but not too good. There's always some sort of limit. You shouldn't be too much of anything. And the idea of seizing your greatness is that be 100% you, authentic, and stop worrying about how you come off to other people. Just be 100% you. And that is your greatness. That is your superpower. And that's what greatness means to me.
Okay. So I want to push back a little bit on some of that, because there's also this idea of reading the room. You know, if how am I showing up in the room and being my full authentic self, and that it might be perceived incorrectly. So what do you say to that?
Well, you know, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because there are different sides to our personality. The way I speak to a child isn't going to be the way I speak in a boardroom, for example. But that doesn't mean that I'm not being authentic in both situations. So you definitely do need to know who you're speaking with and speak to that person. You don't want to make anybody feel unimportant. You don't want to make anybody feel less than, or all of these sorts of things. Meanwhile, you also don't have to 100% take responsibility for their thoughts, their feelings, and their actions either. But as long as you're being respectful of the situation and who you are at the same time, then 100% be yourself. Like I said, there's a difference between speaking to a child versus speaking to the boardroom.
Yeah, you nailed it on the head. It's about being respectful. It's about recognizing that we're all valuable beings
Mm-hmm.
and not walking or trampling over someone else to get your own way. Because being authentically you and stepping into your greatness is not about trampling on other people. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear, because, you know, someone might show, I was like, well, I'm being my authentic self, and you're blowing everybody out of the room. It's like, oh, we don't want to talk to you.
No, exactly. And I'm glad that you said that too, because there's this idea of, well, I'm just telling the truth. Well, that doesn't give you the right to be rude or disrespectful. You can still be truthful and honest without, like you
Truth
said,
and love.
trampling on yeah, you don't have to trample on everybody.
Absolutely. You're a health and wellness professional. So that was your first love, health and wellness. What got you into that? Into the health and wellness field and really being such an expert in it. Like, where did that come from?
It's something that I've always been interested in, no matter where I was in my own life. My mom passed away from cancer when I was 14 years old. So there was always this health element that was around. And she was before her time. She was doing supplements and all these sorts of things. But back then she was considered a weirdo. Now it's commonplace. But
Some people are still considered weirdos. But
this is true. This is true. But it started really young. And I grew up and I wanted to help people, and I made a lot of poor choices for myself in the meantime. And even when I was doing that, I always had this through line of wanting to help other people. Mm-hmm. And one of the best ways to help them is with their health and their wellness. And that can mean so much more than just like my TV show, broccoli and burpees. It's not necessarily just what you feed your body and how you move it, but also what are you feeding your soul and how are you taking care of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions?
Absolutely. You know, we're whole people. I was talking to someone recently, doing an interview to speak at their event. We're just doing a pre-interview to see if they'll select me to speak. And I talked about this idea that we are whole beings, and yet we're treated in these little buckets at work. You know, we're one thing, and then at home we're one thing. So we what do you call that? Containerize or put ourselves compartmentalize. Thank you, ourselves into these little things. But that's not how life works. Like, we bring our whole selves to work. If I'm mad at home, if something happened at home and I come to work, it's coming with me. You know, so the idea that, oh, I could just do one thing over here, broccoli and burpees, and my mind is trash, and that's going to work for me. It's just not going to work. We have to start looking at our whole selves. And I think people think holistic medicine is woo-woo when it's just looking at your whole self, not just
one little part. Yeah. You know, that's what's fascinating to me, because a lot of my clients, when they come to me, their business is suffering, for example, and we will start working on the physical aspect of things for them, you know, maybe getting them into the gym or walking, whatever the case may be. And all of a sudden, as soon as they start feeling better and their business gets better too, gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, I had a guest talk about her secret sauce formula, and she said that self-care is right up there. It's 5 steps, and she's like, self-care is number 2, because like it's vision and then self-care. Because if you're ignoring your self-care, and self-care again is not bubble baths and, you know, manicures. It goes so much deeper than that. And so that's the same idea that you're talking about. When you start taking care of yourself, so many other things begin to work in your life, because it's just not one thing. You also coach around the mind, the mindset. What is your fascination with the mindset?
You know, the thing is I was a personal trainer and a nutrition coach, and I've done an emotional detox coaching and all these different aspects of wellness, but it always comes back down to what's going on up here. I've literally had clients that didn't believe that they could lose weight, and they would do everything. And I knew for a fact that they were doing everything, and they literally would not actually lose the weight. Your mind is an extremely powerful thing. And if you can't get that right, nothing else really matters, So that's really kind of where my problems started. And so that's how I got fascinated with it. And I just noticed it with all of my clients too. Everything comes back to what's going on up here. How are we reacting to our thoughts? Are we believing every single thought that we have? Are we asking good questions? All these sorts of things, it can improve and make your life so much better, or we can be a slave to our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Personally, I'd rather not be. I'd rather use my brain than have my brain take over everything.
Yeah, it's, we don't give enough credit to the mindset. I think people think about attitude is like, well, I just need to adjust my attitude, but your mindset is all around what you believe, and what you believe really dictates your actions. So like you were saying, this client of yours was doing all the things, doing all the eating and stuff, but the words that were coming out of their mouth about the unbelief, whether they can lose weight or not, was actually canceling out anything else that they were trying to do physically, because they weren't internalizing the result that they wanted. They kept resisting that result.
Exactly.
Right? That's how it works.
Yeah, that is exactly how it works. And also, our mindset literally can change what we are actually aware of and what we see. And the best example I can give, it has nothing to really do with mindset, but I was going to school in Italy, and I was taking this art class, and we went to the same spot every single week for 2 hours to paint the exact same spot. And so I was looking at this place, the exact same spot, for, I think I was about 12 hours in at this point. All of a sudden, I noticed a building that was sitting there. I had looked at the same exact spot for 12 hours. And I never noticed it before. So there's things right in front of our face that we just don't see. And if you were expecting to see negativity, that's more than likely your brain's going to make you right. It's the reticular activating system. It's not woo-woo, it's actual science. So
it's science. It's real. Yeah, it's neuroscience.
Exactly.
So I know, and the audience doesn't know this, because just as you mentioned, reticulating activating system, I just thought it was funny that when we had that conversation about you in your personal life, you're newlywed, just getting married for the first time, and how people put pressure on us as women. I mean, I got married very young, but you got married in your mid-40s. Put so much pressure on women to get married. So how does your reticulating activating system work? Because there's so many people, so many women I know, I'm just believing for a husband, but they're not getting married. They're not getting married. So I know I'm throwing you a curveball here, but because this is not about health and wellness, but this is part of seizing your greatness. Because I want people to understand sometimes what you're saying and what you're believing isn't lining up. And so what is happening when your reticulating activating system, because what it does is you start noticing, you think about something, and you start noticing it everywhere. Why they can't get a husband, man? What's going on there?
Well, actually, what they start noticing, how that works, is other relationships, other things, but what they're focused on is their lack of having. So they're getting exactly what they're thinking about, their lack of having something and someone. So they are actually getting exactly what they're thinking about, instead of focusing on feeling those feelings already. What do they think that relationship is going to do for them, and how are they going to feel during that? If they can give that to themselves instead of trying to find it elsewhere, then all of a sudden it shows up in your life. I gave up looking for somebody, and bam, there he was. because I was happy. I had all those thoughts, those feelings, and the universe is like, okay, you've got that. You want more of that? I'm going to give you more of that. So if you're thinking, I don't have this, I don't have this, you're going to get more of, I don't have this, I don't have this.
Wow. And you said a very important thing. I mean, I love that. But you said a very important thing, because when you are whole, going back to what we were talking about before, this brings us full circle. When you are a whole being, then things show up to amplify and improve your life in ways that you didn't expect. Than when you are desperate, then you're actually repelling the thing that you want so much, because you're in the wrong energy. Exactly. And you're not showing up as a whole person. You're not showing up as a happy, whole, healthy person. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It does. And it's kind of frustrating when you're in it. But I love that idea of the relationship, because it's kind of out of our hands in a lot of respects. Everybody has free will. So it's not like we can wish another person to us. But if we're already being all those things for ourselves, and we just want to add more to it and make it amplified, like you said, then all of a sudden the right people come. It's kind of like the idea of when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. It's the same idea.
Very nice. I love it. Love it. Love it. So tell me about limiting beliefs then. If someone wants to seize their greatness, so they saw the title of this, Seize Your Greatness. Okay, I want to seize my greatness, but I don't really know how to start. I don't know where to, I don't know what that even means for me. Can you break that down into some simple steps that people can kind of start becoming aware of it, so that they can start making those steps? Are there steps?
Well, yeah, there definitely are. And there's definitely easier ways to do it. But the number one thing you don't need, and you can't have anybody else do this for you, is to start paying attention to your thoughts. Because it's kind of fascinating when you actually listen to all those things that are going through your head, how many times you put yourself down, how many times you say, I can't, all these negative things that just automatically pass through that we're not even paying attention to. And that is probably the biggest step moving forward, is to start listening to that. Then at that point, you can start, after you've started noticing, you can stop it and change the wording, for example, or maybe ask a better question. And instead of maybe coming from a lack mindset, how can you come from a place of abundance? And I'm not necessarily referring to money in this. I mean, it could be love, it could be anything, but money's an easy way to describe it. So for example, I wanted to buy a new computer, and I don't have the money. I don't ever want to tell myself I don't have the money. It could be instead, how can I create that? How can I make that happen? And it opens it up to not only money, but what if somebody were to gift it to me?
Opportunities.
Yeah, you never know. I literally had somebody give me a computer one time when I needed it. I wasn't even asking. They just said, here you go.
Yeah, because we block all the other ways that things can come from us when our first instinct is, well, I can't afford this. Then you've blocked every other channel that it can possibly come your way, because now you're looking at yourself as the source when there are infinite sources.
Yes. And I think that that's really important. I think that when you are seizing your greatness and you're looking to become authentic, well, first of all, it can be a little scary, to sort of let the mask down. So expect that. But having to have it look a certain way, you definitely block off a lot of opportunity. Yeah.
So that was me. So the house I'm currently living in, that's exactly it. I was believing for a house for years and years, believing for a house. And I only had one vision for how this house was going to come into my life. Like, I had one way. And a mentor of mine, I went to a small group workshop, and he said something that was so profound to me. I mean, it was a huge breakthrough because he said that you're literally blocking the thing that you want the most because you value something more than the thing itself. You're valuing something more. And I was valuing how it was going to come to me because that's what I was thinking. It has to come to me this way. And I blocked off all the other streams that it could come to me. And as soon as I let that go, within months, this house came on the market and it came to me like, I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. And that was a huge lesson for me. So now every time that there's something that I am desiring or something I'm working towards, and it's like, like pulling teeth. It's like, it's not coming. It's not, I have to stop and ask myself, like you said, ask yourself better questions. So that's one of the questions. What am I valuing more in this moment for this thing than the thing itself? Like, what am I really valuing above this thing? Because that's going to always take precedence.
Exactly. And are you attached to something in particular? Are you attached to it looking a certain way? Like, for example, same thing with the computer. Am I attached to this idea of buying it? Okay, that's fine, but I got one for free.
I just need it. It could come to me any other way.
Yeah, just allow it. I don't need to know the how as long as I'm moving forward in a positive direction. All of a sudden, things just open up. I can't even describe it. It seems woo-woo and magical because we can't explain it, except that those opportunities are always there. We're just not always paying attention to them, or we don't even notice.
Yeah. We're back to the building. We're not paying attention to it.
Not paying attention. We don't see what's right in front of us. It was always there.
All right. So let me ask you this then. The idea, because I'm asking these questions in a way to help people think about it differently, or if they have an objection to what we're saying, I'm asking the objection question. All right. So you're saying don't be attached to how it's coming to you or what that's going to look like. Mm-hmm. But you also explain to me then, when someone says you have to be very specific and know exactly what it is, what is the difference between knowing exactly what it is you're looking for so you can attract that thing and being tied to what it looks like?
I love that actually, because it's something that I struggled with for the longest time. You can't order something off the menu and expect it. I mean, you just have to. But so I have to know where I'm going, but it's okay to adjust it as you go along. And the way that I sort of invite other possibilities in instead of closing down is I think about it, this or something greater, this or something better. And that way I'm still open to the possibility of something different or looking a different way, but I am geared towards something something specifically. So I can point my sails in the right direction and I can start going out there. But let's say a bigger opportunity arises that's even better than anything I could have ever imagined. I can keep on heading towards that instead.
Yeah.
So yes, but I have to be able to go somewhere or point towards something. So it is really important to have an idea, but I always, like I said, keep it open to this or something better.
Right. Excellent. I love it. So now I want to just pivot just for a moment because we're running out of time. I can't believe this. We're running out of time. Achieve TV. How did that birth for you? I just want to get a little bit more into you. I know I dug into your personal life a little bit, but how did you move from health and wellness to developing this entire TV network?
It was one of those, this or something better, literally. I never went out. I did not seek it out. However, I did create the opportunity for it to come to me. And what I mean by that is originally I was working in a gym and COVID hit and I hired a business coach and she said, do an online summit so that you can sell to your email list. I did that. It ended up being extremely successful as far as who was involved, which led to me having my own TV show. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing my own show since October 2020. And it got to the point where it was like, okay, I'm bored. It's got to grow or it's got to go. And then I created a program to teach other people how to do what I'm doing, which led to the CEO of E360 TV, who distributes my network, reaching out to me saying, hey, I see you're doing this. What about you having a network? And so I never sought it. I never went and looked for it, but all I wanted was this or something better. This has to grow. And it's what came to me. I was aiming for radio. I was going to go to radio, and this came to me instead. It was bigger and better than everything that I'd ever dreamed, wished, and hoped for. And I have a business partner now that's up leveling everything too. So everything is falling into place, but I've never tried.
Searched it out.
Yeah, I never searched it out. It's come to me. I put in the work and the effort towards a goal, but the goal has always been, how can I show up and help other people be better, healthier, wealthier, all those wonderful things. And this is what came my way.
Oh, I love that. Yay. So you have your health and wellness, you have your show, you have your network. What else is on the horizon for Julie Ann Meyer?
Well, we are actually doing a televised summit in the next couple of weeks. So almost a month out. So we just decided to do it over the weekend. So it's pretty exciting. It's going to be a 2-day event, and it's going to be fun. It's all about unleashing your greatness. So same sort of idea, whereas just, giving back to the community and people telling their stories of triumph and how they've done it.
Nice. How can people get a hold of you, get in touch with you? They want to be on your show, or they want to have their own show. What does that look like?
The easiest way to reach out to me is going to be through my email, which is julianne@ownyourwellness.net. And you can find my TV show, my network, on E360 TV. So yeah, that's pretty much the easiest way to reach out to me.
So E360 TV or
Julianne at ownyourwellness.net.
Ownyourwellness.net.
Yeah.
And if they go to ownyourwellness.net, they'll also see
everything. Yeah.
Good. So Julie Ann, in the final minutes that we have together, what should I have asked you about seizing your greatness that I did not ask you?
I think that we covered some really amazing things, but I really want to say something in particular and reiterate this idea that it can be scary, and that's okay. And if the idea, and I didn't come up with this one, but if you don't have a little bit of pee trickling down your leg, then you aren't dreaming big enough.
Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the gag reflex. Like if your gag reflex isn't like right there.
If it's not, then you are dreaming way too small. You have more in you.
Yeah, there's more in you. And the whole idea of seizing your greatness is not for you to look at someone else and try to be them or be better than them. Yeah. It's about who you are and try to be the best you that you can be. Years ago, I was hearing everybody talk about, you gotta have to find your authentic voice, find your authentic self. This is about 12 years ago. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Like everybody is saying it, but they're not explaining what they mean by authenticity, So it's like, it's who are you? Really figure out who you are. And that's the journey I went on. And that's where I discovered my own greatness, which is still in process. We're still in process.
Well, you're living, so it better still be in process.
More to come. I'm excited about that direction. And thank you so much, Julie Ann. You're going to stick around yes, thank you. And for those of you who tuned in, who are watching, thank you so much for joining us today on the show. If you want to get a hold of me, I already told you how to get a hold of Julie Ann over here. But if you want to find out more about me, you can go to alicia360.com and you can connect with me on all social media channels. My websites are there as well. We have some exciting things coming up, including some live events here in the state of Florida for Win-Win Women, as well as my own events and some retreats. So there's a lot going on. So you can check them out. And you can check out our shows on redcarpetceo.com. So with that, I want to encourage you all to be bold, to be brave, And every day, do one thing, just one thing, to step out with audacious confidence. And I will see you next time on another episode of Unleash Your Audacious Confidence here on Win Win Women TV.